Wonderful. Greetings, everyone. As co-chair of the high-level group on the Integrated Geospatial Information Framework, I would like to welcome you to the first UNGGIM Interregional webinar on the UN IGIF, Enhancing Regional Collaboration to Support National Implementation. Your presence today is a powerful reflection of our shared commitment to advancing the global geospatial agenda, and more importantly, to supporting the national use and implementation of the UN IGIF in a coordinated, inclusive, and regionally informed way. The UN IGIF was developed to provide member states with a way to strengthen their national geospatial information management and unlock the full potential of location-based data. The success of the UN IGIF lies in how we adapt and implement it at the national and regional levels. That's why today's webinar is so important. By enhancing interregional collaboration, we build stronger technical capacities, and we develop a willingness to work together and exchange knowledge. Although our regions are diverse, the challenges we face are shared, and so too are the solutions if we work together. A wonderful example of interregional collaboration can be seen in the growing support the regional committees give one another, and the increasingly coordinated way their efforts contribute to the overall objectives of UNGGIM. One visible demonstration of this collaboration is the commitment by the chairs and presidents of the regional committees to attend and support each other's plenary meetings. This has resulted in the exchange of ideas and perspectives and deepen the understanding of each other's regional priorities. Equally important, though less visible, has been the peer-to-peer support and knowledge sharing between the secretariats of the regional committees. This type of collaboration includes acting as sounding boards for one another and sharing effective practices, all of which help to advance both regional and global objectives. During this webinar, I encourage you all to engage actively and share openly. This is an opportunity for strengthening the bridges between our regions, so that together we can ensure no member state is left behind in the use and implementation of the UN IGIF. On behalf of the high-level group, thank you for your dedication and continued leadership. I wish you the best for a productive and inspiring webinar today. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will give a couple of comments. It's a pleasure to welcome you today to this second online seminar on the digital road to the side events leading up to the 15th session of UNGGIM. The 15th session and its in-person side events will be held on 4 to 8 of August of 2025 at the United Nations headquarters, and we look forward to seeing you all there. This online seminar on the digital road to the 15th session, as mentioned by the co-chair, is the first interregional dialogue and is sponsored and organized by the UNGG Americas and its secretariat. It focuses, as mentioned by the chair, on the United Nations Integrated Geospatial Information Framework, which is the overarching framework of the Committee of Experts. So while the first online seminar was really meant to discuss and provide an overview on the strategic direction of the program of work of the Committee of Experts, this international dialogue is more in-depth, deep dive into the operationalization of the overarching framework of the committee. So a little bit of a flashback in time on the committee's work. The committee's work started with an initial 5-year period from 2011 to 2016 on where it established itself. The second period of 5 years was between 2017 to 2022, and which was on the institutionalization of some of the key work of the committee, including the creation of many of the frameworks that still guide the committee today. And we're now well in the next 5-year period from 2023 to 2028, which is on the implementation and the operationalization of frameworks. And this is, of course, anchored by its key framework, which is the United Nations Integrated Geospatial Information Framework, as mentioned by the chair. This is the enabling framework that allows for countries to develop their geospatial capacities and capabilities and leadership, and also enhance their work and abilities to respond to the needs of societal needs in countries. So certainly we look forward to this enriching session to hear from leaders in each region. And it is good indeed to see the commitment from the leaders in each region on showcasing and discussing the progress on the implementation of the committee's overarching framework. So we look forward to hear good practices, challenges, and opportunities. And it is great indeed opportunity to learn from each other, from exchanging innovative approaches across the world, and to benefit from each other's insight and learn from how countries advocate, use, and develop geospatial information management capacities for the benefits of people, places, and planets. It will be a very good also exercise for, as we are operationalizing the United Nations Global Geospatial Knowledge and Innovation Center, to hear from good practices and methods from countries to make sure that this is scaled up around the world and across the globe. And certainly the Secretariat looks forward to working with all of you to make sure that those good practices are captured and disseminated to other countries that cannot attend or have not been using this framework. So looking forward to hearing from the experiences and wisdom from all of you, and looking forward to this session. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Back to you.
Thank you, Guillaume. And now I believe we... Yes, go ahead.
Maybe
Thank
back
you.
to the moderator, I think.
My camera and both my camera and my mic was disabled for some reason. So I had to leave the meeting and then to rejoin. I apologize for this. You know, I thought, you know, the technical support, and it's like approach. It's like that, you know, to first hear the remarks, you know, the welcoming remarks from you, both you and Deidre, but then, you know, to let me in. So I realize now when you said that I should say something that there is some issue. So
not a problem.
Yes, yeah, thank you very much for understanding. And, you know, I would also like to thank you and Deidre for such a nice, you know, welcoming notes. And I would also like on my behalf to hello and welcome everyone, both the speakers and audience, to this first UN-GGIM Interregional webinar on the UN IGIF. As already mentioned, my name is Ljiljana Živković. I'm a member of the UN GGIM Europe Work Group for UN IGF from Serbia. I work for the Republic Geodetic Authority, and I would moderate today's webinar. I would like also to maybe mention, you know, to stress, as both our introductory note said, you know, that this is the first webinar of this kind, and that it represents collective efforts and wish of the regional committees from Africa, Americas, Asia Pacific, you know, Arab states and Europe, to share the knowledge and experience related to the UN IGIF implementation. The aim of this, you know, as you could see from the agenda, the aim of this webinar also includes presentation of the results of the global survey on the implementation of the UN IGIF tool. And also, as already Guillaume mentioned, you know, I would like to highlight that this webinar is part of the preparatory activities for the coming, you know, 15th session of the UN GGIM Committee of Experts that will take place in August this year in the UN headquarters in New York. As you could see from our webinar agenda, we would have, you know, today the 5 sessions or 5 parts. First part was this welcoming remarks, and then we would hear some results of the global survey on the UN IGIF. Then we would have, you know, this, what is maybe most interesting, the presentation of the regional experiences. Also, after that, we would have the panel discussion, the roundtable that would be led by Mr. Ferdinand Isay. And finally, we will have the conclusion and some closing remarks. Without further delay, I would like now to give a floor to Director of the UN Global Geospatial Knowledge and Innovation Center, Dr. Lee Pando. I apologize in advance, you know, if I don't pronounce your names correctly. So please, Dr. Lee, could you tell us something about, the results of this global survey that was done a couple of months ago? Do we have?
If I may, Liliana, I think the global result of the global survey will be with Marcello, but Dr. Li Pengde unfortunately could not be here today due to illness, and so I just wanted to make maybe a quick comment on his behalf, if that's okay, just to mention a few things. That the center is actively working on many of the requests by member states, including a couple of items that I wanted to mention here today. One is the support to raising awareness on the United Nations Integrated Geospatial Information Framework, and the center is actively planning workshops around the globe and across the regions to make sure that all countries are aware of the United Nations Integrated Geospatial Information Framework and bring knowledge to countries to make sure that they are aware of how to enhance their geospatial information arrangements. Another point is the center is also working actively on the knowledge platform and bringing all the materials that have been developed throughout the years by the member states, and make sure that this information is available, modernized and interactive, and make sure that this is so that the knowledge is available easily through web platforms and websites of the global geospatial information community. Another key point is the development of leadership training that the center is working on. The UNIGIF has front and center leadership, and the center is also actively working on this aspect. And then also raising awareness and communication on the benefits of geospatial information value. So this is also something that the center is actively working with its GeoNow event that will be in the fall, and other activities that have happened already in Australia earlier this year. So all those streams of work is actively done by the center, and also the center colleagues are here online. I want to mention Jean-Maurice Muneza, who has just joined the center of the UNGGKIC earlier this month, and then also Mr. Chong Thang, who is also present into this meeting, and they look forward to working closely with all of you to make sure that the center is also, supporting member states to sustain the adoption of the IGIF. So hello, Jean-Maurice, and hello, Chung. It's good to have you with us. So the center is actively participating to this event, even though Mr. Pengde could not be there today. So thank you again, Liliana.
Okay, thank you, Guillaume, and also for correcting me, since this stumbling into the meeting, made a small confusion. So yeah, unfortunately we don't have Dr. Lee, but now we would have, I assume, Mr. Marcel Emery, to present us, the global survey of the UNIGIF. So Mr. Marcelo is the head of the coordination of the spatial data infrastructure of the Argentina Republic at the National Geographic Institute, and he is also the co-leader of the Capacity Development Work Group of the High-Level Group for IGIF. Please, Marcelo, the floor is yours.
Much, Lilian, and thank you all the organization for inviting me to share with you the results of the global survey on use and implementation of the UNIGIF. I think it's very important in this regional context agenda, because I consider this information is very important input for the regional committees' work plans related to the UNIGIF. So I will share my screen. Okay, I will give you a brief presentation, and I will try to highlight those results of the survey, which may be of most use to the regional committees and to these roundtable discussions. First of all, I would like to provide some brief background. This survey was prepared by the Capacity Development Working Group of the high-level group between late 2023 and early 2024. And also it's important to remember that this survey, it's a broad survey born out on the need to know the level of awareness, usage, and implementation of the UNIDIF by member states, which were uncertain before this survey. So the objectives of the survey were assessing awareness, determining the extent to which member states are aware of the UNIDIF and its components, if they are using or implementing it, or considering doing it in the near future. It was also important for us understanding the institutional structures, learn how national geospatial information management institutions are structured to implement the UNIDIF and how they collaborate to overcome their challenges. Another fundamental element for understanding the implementation was knowing how member states are using and integrating it into their national geospatial information management structures and decision-making processes. And finally, an essential item was gathering feedback to know, for example, the document's utility, external support from different stakeholders, and if material documenting the implementation process were created in order to be shared with other member states. So from the results, the Capacity Development Working Group wrote an 80-page report. This is not published yet, but hopefully it will be soon available to the entire UNGGIM community. The structure of the report is, as you can see, a background, specific details about the survey, purpose, approach, results. There is an important note to say about the reports, the results, that they reflect some descriptive and analytical level. However, the analysis made by the Capacity Development Working Group is the first step in this journey. And we think that other stakeholders can provide a richer analysis from the raw data of the survey. And we encourage the regional committees to continue the process according to their own interests. The report also presents main conclusions with key findings, takeaways, some lessons learned, and finally the appendices. The first one is the question of the survey, and the second one is the first approach at regional level results. Only general results graphs are presented there. It is important to mention that we had to make some decision about the regionalization because some member states are in more than one region. And that is another reason to encourage the the regional committees to make a deeper analysis. So if you take a look to the results, 114 responses were received of 193 member states. That is 59%. We can see also here the response by region. A very encouraging fact of the results is that 93 member states are using or implementing the UNIDIF or considering doing soon. In order to extract richer analysis from the results at the global level, member states are presented in two groups. The group of 66 in blue is the group of member states that are using or implementing the UNIDIF, and the group of 27 in pink are the member states that are considering doing it soon. At the regional level, the implementation ratio is quite similar, with the exception of Europe, that shows a lower number of member states implementing the UNIDIF. And some of the reasons expressed were that they have already robust geospatial information management systems and directives in place, or that their existing SDIs already incorporate many components of the UNIDIF. However, several respondents acknowledge that they view the UNIDIF as an important reference tool, useful for evaluating their business models. Regarding the participation agencies and institutions, the results emphasize the high level of participation from the public sector. There is also participation from the private sector and academia, reflecting broad engagement across member states. In the report, a careful analysis of each sector is provided, but for the time being, it's important to point out the significance of cross-sector and interdisciplinary collaboration. Regarding how member states are using the UNIDIF, results show that member states use the UNIGIF for a different purpose, not just to develop a country-level action plan. For example, member states also used framework to create or enhance national geospatial governance policies or strengthen national spatial data infrastructures, among others. In this slide, we can see the organization that brings support to member states. The majority of the member states implementing the UNIGIF responded that they have received support primarily from the regional committees. Here we notice and highlight the substantial role played by the regional committees. In comparison, most member states considering the implementation are not receiving external support. And so here we observe that the survey gives us valuable information about those member states considering the implementation, as it allows those actors that bring support to plan future action. And this is why the raw data of the survey were shared within the regional committees and the UNGGKIC. We also here see a large number of organizations that bring support for the implementation of the UNIGIF, and that is a very encouraging fact. And at the same time, this invites us to review which actions to bring support are undertaken. There surely are a lot of good experience that deserve to be shared. Regarding the framework documents assessment, member states generally find the UNIGIF guiding documents to be useful or highly useful. The country level action plan was rated by fewer member states than overarching strategy and implementation guide, but it was also highly evaluated. At this point, I would like to digress for a moment and comment on the work being done by the Capacity Development Working Group to translate the UNIGIF documents so that they can be more accessible and useful to member states. This work is being carried out thanks to the collaboration and commitment of the Academic Network of the Americas as the leader of the subgroup, 13 member states and 40 people involved. I would like to take this opportunity to once again thank all these people who do a tremendous collectively volunteer job. And as a result of that, as you can see in the slide, most of the UNIGIF Part 1 and 2 documents are now available in Spanish, French, and Arabic, as well as English. We are working to make more documents and languages available soon. The survey also collects information on the stage of the implementation of the UNIGIF. It can be noted that member states are in different stages of implementation process. I don't want to get deeper in this presentation on this topic, but I would like to highlight that the raw materials are valuable for knowing where each member state stands. That is, can be useful as a source for designing targeted support strategies. In the next part of the survey, member states responded about the type of materials they have developed in implementing the UNIGIF and if they were willing to share their materials. The survey gives us information that could be useful here to learn from those member states in later stages. And among the main conclusions, we highlight that the global survey has been useful to grasp a first look at the status of the UNIGIF. Has been useful also in identifying the regional committees as a main source of support for implementation of the UNIGIF. This not only demonstrates the close relationship between the regional committees and the member state, but it also shows the great potential for design of target and focused support actions. And we also note that member states do not only use the UNIGIF to develop a country-level action plan, as we first thought. There are other purposes behind its use, which is why the survey provides useful information for regional committees about specific actions, needs, and lessons learned that can be shared. And in the context of this interregional meeting, I tried to summarize the survey result by highlighting aspects which I believe are most relevant for the regional committees. We believe that the findings offer compelling support to enhance action plans among stakeholders promoting the UNIGIF and assisting member states. And since the regional committees are the main support for the implementation of the UNIGIF, this raises some questions that can trigger the discussion of this meeting. For example, how are they providing support? What are the main support needs? What does the global structure to support member states to implement the UNIGIF should look like? And which is the role of the regional committees in that structure? And I would like to take this opportunity to once again encourage the regional committees to further analyze the raw data. And also, we would like to know to have your opinion on the survey. We consider the Sabre to be a powerful tool to have the first landscape of the UNIGIF, but there are many improvements that can be done, and we believe it's advisable to conduct the survey every 2 years, but this improvement should be addressed collectively, involving several stakeholders, which can foster synergy and minimize redundant efforts. So with that, I finished my presentation. I appreciate your kind attention, and I hope this survey helped you with your roundtable discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marcello, for this presentation of the results of the global survey. I think I would agree, that we are still, some time ahead. We need to analyze them and come to the conclusions of what should be next done, how we should adjust our roles and the actions of the regional committees, and to be adjusted, to the needs of those who are using the geospatial data and the services. So without further delay, since we have to run on time, thank you one more time, Marcello. We would now go to the presentations of the regional experiences. As I mentioned, we have the 5 regional committees and 5 presentations. First, I would like to invite Ms. Marwale Chuke.
If I can just interrupt 1 second, Liliana, and I apologize to throw a little bit of rocking the boat each time. I understand that my colleague, Jean-Maurice, actually has a couple of slides to deliver on behalf of the UNGGKIC. So if you do not mind that he has a little bit of few minutes to present on behalf of the GGKIC. I was not aware of this, so it is a little bit also a surprise from my end. So if we can allow him for a couple of minutes presenting the slides on behalf of the GGKIC, I think it would be also really important to inform the discussion. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Guillaume, for bringing this, and thank you very much, Madam the Chair. Almost everything was covered by Guillaume on his intervention, because, as you know, the center also works closely with the Secretariat, and then Guillaume has covered almost everything. But it was, I don't know, can you see the slide? It was very important also to highlight how the center appreciate the kind of work that we are working with the regional committees, because in implementing this IGIF, we cannot do anything without these regional committees. So can you confirm you can see my slide?
Yes, we see it, please.
Yes, yeah, okay, thank you very much. So it's just about, again, to go through many activities that we've been we did together with those regional committees, maybe also to thank them, but also to try to show them exactly in the future what is being planned and how they are going to be included also in the center's activity. I will try to be a bit brief. It's just 5 or 6 slides, and then try to just kind of showing activities and how those regional committees are going to be implemented. I don't think that I need to present myself again. I'm Jean-Maurice Muneza from UNGGKIC. I joined like some 3 weeks ago, and then we'll be working together on different activities here. So quickly, this collaboration that we are discussing today is very important also for the center, because as you know, we understand that we cannot implement all the goals alone. We understand that the regional committees are very important in achieving the center's goals, which I think I don't need to repeat them again because you've been on this one. Many activities that we achieved with the regional committee after the last session in August. There has been a lot with ASEAN and Pacific in the workshop that we organized in Delhi. There has been also activities with Arab states, DJIM Arab states. I think you've been in Jeddah. We also worked with the committee. There is now very different consultation activities going on, especially with DJIM Africa, mainly on how to implement IGIF, especially understanding countries, what kind of difficulties, what kind of challenges they are having in implementing elaborating their country action plan so that we can tailor our intervention accordingly. But also we organize the leadership training with GGM Asia and Pacific. And there is also a recent one. I think there has been a meeting last week here with ASEAN and Pacific, which has also discussed about how we can use different technology in achieving IGIF implementation. So the future also is very good, is promising about working together, because the center is soon be participating in the DJIM Lab, which is happening in June, but also we are organizing two different trainings and workshops with Asia and the Pacific, but also in Ghana, also on the same sense, on exactly in this sense of implementing the IGF, especially the elaboration of a country action plan, what kind of difficulties is there, so that we can know the center, if we need to intervene, how do we going to intervene, how are we going to support those countries which are requesting our support now. There will be another one also in Ghana in the same sense in November. And we are also discussing with DJIM America to have another one in Santiago in Chile in November 2025. And as Guillaume mentioned also, we are having this journal which is coming in October. And then, of course, we'll be working with all committees to make this activity very successful. On the other goals, for example, addressing national priorities, there's also some different activities that are being organized with DJIM Africa and Europe and ASEAN Pacific, still on advancing the value of geospatial information and strengthening national geospatial information management in order to be fitting very well in the national circumstance. It's also the kind of workshop and activities that we really want the regional committee to be involved to make sure that they are responding to the intervention of the member state. So on the other goals also is still the same. We are having this upcoming workshop and activities in progressing geospatial knowledge that different regional committee, Asia and Africa, are going to be involved in the recently in November, and then there's one in September. And at the same sense also in elaborating innovation and technology, there are different activities being organized, especially on the finalizing of country action plan, because let's say we are getting different requests from countries. They started and then they reached at some level, and then now they want the intervention of the center. So we are expecting to be working closely with the regional committees to make sure that we provide appropriate intervention to those countries. So in finalizing also, communication is very important. We're also discussing recently in our webinar how with the high-level group on communication on how we can tailor, how we can make our intervention of the center in communication very well. And then it's the same activity also that we are going to make sure that all regional committees are being involved. So I think maybe by finalizing, we understand very well that cooperation and the collaboration with regional committees is very important, and is going to be the key of success of the future activities of the center. And we want to thank all the regional committees for the intervention, for their time and the support that they are giving for the center. And then we build on this one to make sure that we are providing appropriate intervention for member states. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jean-Maurice. for this valuable input. It's good to know that, the center is preparing so many activities, with the regional committees, and that we have support, centrally that is coordinating the efforts of the regional committees and implementation, this leveling, from the global to the country level, in the implementation of the UNIGIF. So as I previously mentioned, now we are going to start, presentation of the regional experiences. I hope that Ms. Maruale Chauke is with us. Okay, yeah, I received the presentation. Ms. Maruale is Director of the National Spatial Information Framework at the National Department for Land Reform and Rural Development of South Africa, and she's going to be representative from the UN GGIM Africa. Please, Ms. Maruale, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and greetings from freezing South Africa. I hope you are able to see my presentation.
Yeah, we are seeing exactly.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity. Just to go straight into the presentation, this is Africa in terms of the structure of the UNGGIM, and we have the executive board chaired by South Africa under the leadership of Mr. Clinton Hayman. And we also have Cameroon as the first vice chair, Morocco, second vice chair, Uganda, first rapporteur, and Burkina Faso as the second rapporteur. We have Ethiopia as the ex-officio member of the executive board, and also we have the UNECA serving as the secretariat. And in the last session of the UNGGIM Africa held in Addis Ababa, UNGGIM Africa took a resolution to establish working groups, and we have now 4 working groups under UNGGIM Africa. The first working group is on the UNIGIF, and the second one is on the integration of geospatial and statistical information. The third working group is on African Geodetic Reference Frame. The last but not least is on the land administration and management. Now, the focus of today's meeting is on the UNIGIF working group. Now, on the screen, you see there are 13 countries that have started the journey in terms of UNIGIF implementation, including development of their country-level action plans. We have countries at the initial phase, and we've got countries that are progressing well, and then we have 2 countries that have already completed their country-level action plans, and they are at implementation phase. Now, I'm going to present progress as of the last meeting of the workshop on IGIF that was held in Mozambique, Maputo. There was an expert consultation and meeting for Southern Africa held in Maputo in March. And these are the countries that participated in the expert consultation meeting. Now you look at the countries now, you see that there's an additional 5 that are joining countries at initial phase of implementing the IGIF. From the 13 first cohort of countries, now they are joined by 5 countries, that is Burundi, Comoros, Lesotho, Malawi, and Zimbabwe. But looking at the number of of countries in the African region, you see that we are not even halfway. So we need to move at a faster pace into getting other countries on board. And we hope that the workshop to be held in Ghana later in this year will bring a number of countries on board. Now, in the meeting held in Maputo, these are the challenges raised by member states, and this linking to the 9 strategic pathway of the IGIF is that there's a lack of governance framework that is effective, that is working, and there's also a lack of legal and policy framework. There's no support financially to start geospatial initiatives, and there's an issue, apologies for that. In terms of data technology, there are there's lack of data and technology, lack of infrastructure. And in terms of data and technology and infrastructure, the comment strongly came from Burundi. And there's also an issue, lack of standards, and most important, the lack of understanding of standards. We are in this week attending OGC meetings in Mexico. Some of us are attending virtually, but there's I think 3 countries from Africa participating in terms of OGC standards, and we are not also talking about ISO or IHO. So there's a need to develop capacity and capability on the issues of standards. And in terms of issues around people, there's lack of or limited global and regional coordination. And thanks to the organizers of this workshop or webinar, thank you UNGGIM Americas for leading in terms of creating a platform so that we can work together and collaborate. And there's also lack of qualified GIS professionals and buy-in from the highest level. I'm talking about our political leadership. Now, what I like about that workshop is that they did not only look at challenges, but they also looked at solutions, and they provided some solutions in terms of areas of the 9 strategic pathway. When you look at governance, they're proposing that there must be policy integration and visibility by embedding geospatial strategies within existing frameworks like the SDG 2030 and the AU 2063. And proposal to look at financial resources by demonstrating economic benefits through pilot studies. And when you talk about issues of technology, there's a need to leverage on AI, cloud computing, and emerging technology for advanced applications. And when it talks to issues of people, there's a need to collaborate more in terms of government, academia, private sector, and other regions. We also need to start building professional capacity and promote geo-champions. And last but not least is on the issue of how to communicate. We need to embed geospatial strategies within the national development plans. We need to start talking the language of politicians and saying how are we going to support them using our geospatial technologies and tools to support the national development agendas. Now, in terms of upcoming activities, I can tell you this is a new working group. We have not met. We have not yet met as a working group, but we are going to be leveraging on a few issues already in the pipeline. One is that we are prioritizing leadership, because without leadership, we will not be able to get the support that we need to implement whatever initiatives that we come up with. The engagements with the South African minister to advocate for geospatial agenda to the AU for us is one of the key important aspects that we need to put and push forward. And I'm happy that the Executive Bureau of the UNGGIM Africa is in this platform to understand how important this is. And because once we engage the ministers, then we'll be able to have access to funding opportunities for geospatial information management. And our request now to the Center of Excellence in China is that leadership training must be prioritized. And leadership training, let's start with those political leadership. Get them to understand the importance of geospatial information management, and if possible, make them sign that China Declaration on Geospatial Information Management. I don't know what you're going to call it, but get them to China, and if possible, let them sign that declaration so that by the time they come back to member states or to their countries, the respective countries, they are able to prioritize geospatial information management. Now, we're also planning to do engagement more in a more efficient way by ensuring that there are regional workshops, and there's a plan one, I think, my colleague from UNGGKSC from China has already mentioned about the upcoming workshop in Ghana. But I know that the UN Executive Bureau, they are also talking about having a virtual webinar for UNGGIM Africa on UNIGIF. And I think also continue engagement through newsletters and other communication platforms. When it comes to knowledge, we need to establish a mechanism for monitoring and reporting on the progress made by member states for each strategic pathway. And our request now to the Center of Excellence is that maybe if they can provide us with a standardized template on how to harvest knowledge for each and every strategic pathway for member states so that they can start completing it, and then we can create that knowledge hub. That's it from UNGGIM Africa in terms of the UNIGIF. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marella. This was really quite interesting. Now we know, about what is the status in the UNGGIM Africa group, regional committee, and what are the challenges. So I would, proceed immediately to Ms. Sandra Moreno, if she's with us, So she's the co-chair of the Geospatial Information for SDG, working in National Administrative Department of Statistics of Colombia. Miss Sandra?
Yes, thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Well, it's a
Please.
pleasure to me to be here. Thank you so much. Can you confirm if you can see my slides?
Yes, we see it. Yeah, please.
Perfect. So, today I will be sharing key lessons and insights from Colombian experience in implementing the IGIF, focusing on how we have structured our national framework to align with IGIF strategy pathways and drive meaningful progress. So, to start, I would like to give some context about our Colombia's structure. So Colombia's National Geospatial Ecosystem is organized under the Colombian Spatial Data Infrastructure, known as a ICDE by its acronym in Spanish. So the ICDE promotes the interoperability of national information system, strengthens cross the sectoral coordination, and ensure accessibility and effective use of geographical information. This structure was formalized through Resolution A99 of 2023, which defines the ICDE's governance and operational framework. One of the key milestones in Colombia's IGIF implementation is the establishment of the National Strategic Plan for Geographical Information. So NAS as in Spanish again, PIGN. So within the framework of the resolution A99 of the 2023, the ICDE is formally mandated to formulate and publish this geographical strategic plan. So to do that, specifically in the Article 9, to do that, we align to use the international reference as the IGIF. So this structure of this national plan was developed using this structure to guarantee or to design a comprehensive strategic plan that addresses each of the IGIF strategic pathways in a way that responds to Colombia's national context and institutional reality. One important thing in the construction of this National Geographical Plan was that this was built through a collaborative and participatory process. To ensure broad ownership and relevance, we engage stakeholders at multiple levels through national workshops, territorial visits, and webinars. These activities were part of our National Geographical Plan communication and consultation process, which aimed to gather feedback, identify needs, and build consensus around prioritizations. In total, we reached over 100 representatives from different organizations and institutions, including regional entities and community actors, ensuring that the plan reflects several territorial perspectives and realities. This inclusive approach was critical to strengthening interinstitutional coordination and aligning the plan with the real demands of users and producers of geospatial information. As a result of all this process, working with different communities and institutions, we publish a National Geographical Plan that has 4 chapters. The first chapter is general context about the National Spatial Data Infrastructure. The second chapter presents the strategic drivers. In this, we have 2 strategic drivers, the International Reference Framework, IGIF, and as a national reference, the National Development Plan. The third chapter, we assess the current status of geographical information management. So you using tools like a SWOT analysis and the result from regional and national surveys to identify in which status we are located. We are located in reverse of management of the geographical information. And finally, in the fourth chapter, we outline the strategic action framework of the National Spatial Data Infrastructure, included the action plan for 2024 until 2027. So here you can see in these slides that the result of the chapter 4. So our National Geographical Plan was officially established in 2024. And since then, we have been working in different projects. So what we can do? We work for all of the strategy pathways, and we create or we develop project for develop each of these pathways. So while each pathways has its own specific focus, we also identify a strong interconnection between them, which allow us to design integrated actions across multiple areas. So in this structure, as you can see, the governance and financial pathway form the administrative and structural foundation of the entire framework, enable and supporting the rest of the implementation. So for us, the main strategy pathways was governance and financial. This is the support of the other pathways and other activities. On the right-hand side, we have pathways centered on data management, including data quality, interoperability, and standards. And on the left-hand side, we grouped actions related to knowledge management, such as capacity development, innovation, and communication. This layout helps visualize the relation between strategic components and ensures a coherent implementation across all areas of this geospatial ecosystem. So now I'm going to present very quickly how we can work in this, how we can be working on implementation of concrete actions for each of these strategic pathways. So the first is the pathway 1, that is government and institutions. So in this focus, one of our main achievements was the design and establishment of an interinstitutional governance model for our national spatial data infrastructure. So we are working in the value proposition, in institutional arrangement. However, we have challenges and opportunities yet. So to fully realize the spatial infrastructure strategy role as a Colombia's national administrator of geospatial data, we definitely need to elevate the organizational status of our national spatial data infrastructure inside our geographical agency. So definitely we need to give more power and to elevate its status, to ensure that ICDE has a clear, visible position and authority need to lead both institutional and interinstitutional coordination efforts. Second, I would like to move very quickly to the pathway 2, policy and legislation. So currently, in this moment, we are working in a law, the law 447, which focus on the management of the data in Colombia. So in this law, we include the role of our national spatial data infrastructure. So this legal recognition is a step forward to promote the ICDE's position with this Colombian's broader data governance landscape. So despite of this progress, definitely we have also challenges, is that we need to we identify that currently we are operator under a resolution that is a low level of legislation. So to ensure long-term stability, we need to a strong legal foundation. So the idea is with this law, if this law finished and is published, we need to focus in a decree that create all the framework regulatory of our strategy of our ICDEs. Well, finally, we are working in the strategy pathway about financial. We are working a business model and in a 10 years financial model. However, again, we identified different challenges here. So our first challenger is that we require the definition of a structural and long-term funding strategy that enables the consolidation of this technical operation and technology capacity. Here you can see the advance of the data pathway. We are working in a production plan for fundamental data and territorial objects, and for promote the use of sharing the data about that. However, we identify that in this aspect, we strongly believe that every data sets that producing in Colombia should be linked to a location, whether through a coordinate or maybe with a territorial code or geographical identifier, because all data is about something that happens somewhere. So the idea is to promote that all the data that we produce in Colombia has a location reference. Here we are working in an innovation pathway. Here we are working in the definition of components of Geospatial digital ecosystem, development an innovation plan for Colombia, and public innovation and GovTech laboratory. Despite this progress, and we are working in that, the main challenge is to ensure that the innovation efforts are sustained and translate into scalable institutional solutions, not just isolate pilot projects. For that, we need a stronger integration between innovation, policy, and operation. Now I want to talk about the standards pathway. In these strategy pathways, we are working on strengthening interoperability and standardization of geospatial data and service. So the idea is, one of the ideas here is to implement a certification, geospatial information certification, like it's a star rating schemas, to guarantee that all the data that we publish in the spatial data infrastructure has the minimum elements of quality. So here we are working also in the partnerships, working with the National Statistics System, with other international initiatives to guarantee the coordinators about that. So here you can see the work that we are doing in capacity and education. Definitely this is a point that we need to work and strength, especially in a multiple level, not only in the national level, but also in territorial levels like a municipality and others. And finally, we are working in the communication, in which pathway we are focused on communication and stakeholder engagement. So we are published 4 edition of Geodata Journal, participate in international events, and in general that generate a culture of geospatial awareness. So as you can see, like a summary of that, Colombia's experience shows that IGIF goes beyond being a technical framework. It's truly a strategic tool. It has allowed us to strengthen institutional coordination, enhance national capacity, and move forward a more interoperable, inclusive, and sustainable geospatial ecosystem. So thank you once again for this opportunity to share our process. We look forward to continue dialogue and cooperation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Now we saw just a little bit different approach. I mean, not a different approach, but now you already have a combination of the local needs and, you know, the recommendations, global recommendations, how to improve the geospatial data and services. To be in time, I would invite immediately Mr. Tandang Yuliadi Dwiputra, if he is with us, to present the group UNGGM Asia Pacific. He's a vice chair of the working group on the UN IGIF for this regional committee. Okay, we see the presentation, please.
Hello, can you hear my voice?
Yes, we could hear you and we see the presentation.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, afternoon, or evening for all distinguished colleagues. My name is Tandang Yuladi Dwi Putra from Geospatial Information Agency of Indonesia. And I'm pleased to represent the UNGGIM Asia Pacific in this inter-regional webinar, the first webinar and I would like to share our experiences on implementing the UN IGIF. As introduction from our region, here are the official members registered to date. They are representing body of the National Geospatial Information Authority of 56 countries in Asia and the Pacific. Our region is a diverse and also vast area encompassing a wide range of countries, primarily located in or near the Western Pacific Ocean. Currently, our organizational structure is as follows. Currently, our UNGM Asia Pacific Executive Board, we have our president, Dr. Antonius from Indonesia, and also we have vice president from India, Japan, Singapore, and also executive members from Australia, China, Fiji, Islamic Republic of Iran, Russian Federation, Malaysia, Mongolia, Nepal, and also Republic of Korea. And to support the executive board, we have 4 working groups. The first one is Geodetic Reference Frame, chaired by Mr. Basara from Japan. The second one is Cadastre and Land Management, led by Mr. Victor Ku. And also the third one is Integrating Geospatial Information and Statistics, led by Mr. Sayed from Iran. And our focus now in this seminar is on the working group 4 about the IGIF, and chaired by the Mr. Sri Pankaj from India. So our working group have objective to raise awareness and also to support, coordinate, and make the collaboration in the implementation of UN IGIF. And to do that, the working group work in coordination also with the high-level group of IGIF to achieve the objective. And also we mobilize the resource for the implementation. And the last objective also, we need to demonstrate the values or the benefits and the impact of the UN IGIF, so the people or the policymakers can see the importance in strengthening our geospatial information management. Related to our activities, for the past 2 years, we regularly held a workshop. The first one in the 2023, where there was 18 members countries, and we encourage them to report or to give updates from their country about the UN IGIF implementation, or even about the national spatial data infrastructure activities in their countries. And we also have the expert consultation meeting during that period. We invite expert from the secretariat, Mr. Theo Chihai, and in that event, we aims to engage also geospatial leaders from the member state who come to Bali and discuss about the key elements and how their national efforts toward the geospatial information management. And last year, we also held the UN IGIF regional seminar. We invite also representative from other region, about more than 20 member countries attended, and we also happy to invite the private sector and also academic network from the Asia Pacific region. And that in these activities or in this seminar, we discuss about how to implement the UN IGIF, and also we have explanation from our colleagues from the Arab state who lead the sustainable funding. And during the event, some of the countries also present their updates for the UN IGIF implementation from Republic of Korea, India, Indonesia, Fiji, Singapore. We also invite from the United Kingdom and academia from the Asia and Pacific region. There are several key takeaways if we related it to the strategic pathway For example, about the policy and governance, we have in Indonesia and also China and India the same kind of lesson learned or best practice related to implement the unified frameworks for data sharing governance. In Indonesia, we call it One Map policy. In China, we call it One Map project, and maybe in India, we call it in Indian language, maybe in Bu Adar. And also, we realize that the leadership is important to align the Geospatial initiative with national goals. I think I don't need to talk all of these key takeaways, but from the seminar, we realized that the capacity building and also the communication and engagement is very important. So we propose to continue to do some activities related to this part. And during the UNJM regional seminar, we also held the working group meeting, which are attended by the 11 members countries and also from the private network and academic network. And in the discussion, there raised some kind of suggestion to establish the virtual technical advisory group, and this will help the countries or the member states that is not have the capacity or the resource for developing the country action plan can use this virtual technical advisory group. And the last activities from our region last month from the Philippines, they held the Geospatial Information Management Stakeholder Consultation supported by the World Bank, and the Philippines tried to implement the UNIGIF by stipulating or establishing the policy to integrate the geospatial information management. And also with this consultation meeting, they want to raise awareness among the key stakeholders. That's why they invited some of agencies from the Philippines. And in this event, also some IGF implementation cases, including baseline assessment carried out from the World Bank and also from other countries. I also would like to share about our best practice in IGF. We have a couple of country action plan that can be accessed for reference to all the member states via the UNGGIM website. From the Kingdom of Tonga, they have published the Geospatial Action Plan in 2023. And also we have a document about the strategy of the National Spatial Data Infrastructure from the Mongolia. And I think this is still valid and also can be used for the reference to all the member states. Additionally, we also developed some kind of case study, particularly to show to the political policy makers the importance of implementing UNIGF, and we relate it with the key or critical sectors. For example, in Indonesia, we have the palm oil production, which is the national issue, and also about the climate action strategy. And I think these two issues is also part of our national development plan. And lastly, despite of our milestone activities or even best practice, we also still face some challenges about the raising awareness of our members, because not all of our members can attend the plenary meeting or even the regional seminar. And also we have to support the small island state in the Pacific region for assistance in developing country action plan or in the capacity building. And the other challenge is how to transform the NSDI concept, which is I think most of the countries from the Asia and Pacific have already adopted the NSDI, and how to integrate it or transform it to the UNIGF platform is a challenge. And the last one is we would like to also create more best practices so we can show the urgency or the benefits of UNIGF for national development issues. I think that's conclude my presentation. Thank you for listening and looking forward to have a fruitful discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tandanga, for these insights into the activities of the regional group, Asia Pacific. We run further down. I mean, just to be in time, I would like to invite now Mr. Mohammed Almabruk from the he's an executive director for international cooperation and partnerships in GOSA, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and he's going to represent, the UN. He's coming in front of the UNGJM Arab states.
Thank you. I'm not sure if my presentation appears in the screen. Distinguished experts, esteemed colleagues and valued members, good day, and thank you for the opportunity. My presentation is going to be similar to Sandra from Colombia, and I'm pleased to present an overview of GEOSA progress in aligning the Kingdom's national strategy of geospatial with the UN Integrated Geospatial Information Framework, or IGIF. Who we are a government agency that mandated to regulate, develop, and supervise and monitor the survey and geospatial sector in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And this mandate assigned a number of roles and responsibilities, such as establishing the fundamental of and guiding standards and regulations related to surveying sector, also crafting strategic plans, serving as the Kingdom representative both internally and at the international level in the field of geospatial, also developing the national geospatial infrastructure and many other rules as showing in these slides. So following the issuance of GEOSA new mandate and the responsibilities outlined within this regulation, it becomes essential for GEOSA to chart a strategic course that facilitates the realizations of its objectives. So we cooperated with a leading company that helped us to develop the Saudi Arabian National Geospatial Strategy, leveraging the IGIF as the preliminary framework. So the initial phase included a current state assessment that involved questionnaires, stakeholders workshops, and meetings, followed by a benchmark comparison of the global leaders in the geospatial sector. And this comprehensive approach ensures a well-rounded strategic roadmap, integrated both internal insight and global best practices. So the assessment of the current state of the geospatial sector in Saudi was executed by a multiple phases approach. This involved the distribution of a comprehensive questionnaire encompassing of 93 questions, each aligned with the 9 strategic pathways of the IGIF. And these questionnaires were dispatched to a diverse pool of over 70 entities in the kingdom, with private sector of 21 representing these, entities. In additional, an extensive meeting were conveyed with more than 13 organizations and engaging over 150 of their representative. And these cooperative sessions were enriched by the insight of international experts in the geospatial and strategic disciplines. So this combined efforts result in definitions of the challenges, area for improvement, and key strength. So taking strategic pathways 2 as an example, so this slide presents how we build the questionnaires. So each attribute of the strategic pathway, such as the guidance principle, the key actions for strengthening the geospatial information management, etc. We took them and formalized them into questions for the questionnaires. So this was similarly followed in the case of the other 9 strategic pathways. So the questions in the questionnaires comprised of attribute of the legal and policies that are defined for the IGIF strategic pathway 2. So the second phase of crafting the national geospatial strategy involved a comprehensive review of the new mandate of GEOSA and its efforts to align the geospatial sector with the overarching goals of the Kingdom Vision 2030. Furthermore, vital interconnections were established between the objectives of the geospatial sector and the other national strategies across several key sectors. So in the third stage of formulating the national geospatial strategy, we conducted a workshop with GEOSA staff internally, followed by a number of national workshop involving the sector entities. And through this cooperative efforts, we arrived to a mutually agreed upon major challenges and 8 priorities areas to shape the strategies. So this slide summarizes the national workshop and highlight their most significant input, where 86 entities participated in the workshop with 128 participants producing more than 500 interactive proposals and opinions around the strategic framework. So upon the complete analysis of the questionnaire and the input were gathered during the workshop, several challenges have become in light. So particularly within the government, our governance process. So duplication of strategic planning and implementation is a huge challenge. And in terms of legal affair challenges such as non-alignments of the policy and standard are very well known. So in terms in data, we come across challenges such as a weak regulation and limited data sharing. And in case of the capacity and education, there is a need to develop a national capacity building in the sector. Also, as a community continued to importance challenges, this slide also present 3 key challenges faced, which include the limited cooperation and partnership, a shortage of local service providers, and also the need to interactive and motivate innovation elements. So 8 key priorities has been pointed for sharing the national geospatial strategy, which are presented in this slide, such as set methodologies for developing and improving the quality of the geospatial infrastructure, cooperation between the different sector to build the national capacity. So this diagram shows that the strategic theme, objectives, and the vision of the strategy house, where the overarching vision is to establish a robust and sustainable geospatial sector, enhancing the kingdom leadership across the economy and social and environment sectors. And the mission is to provide an organized and effective national geospatial infrastructure and data, fostering an investment, skilled human capacity, and stakeholder participation to support the decision making. So this is my last slide, where it's a highlighting of the analysis of the National Geospatial Strategy and how it's aligning with the core pillar of the IGIF, and looking at the ninth pathways of the IGIF, it can be clear seeing that the governance and institutional has the highest percentage of the strategy initiatives, and this is due to the fact that GEOSA mandate is to regulate and supervise and regulate the sector in Saudi Arabia. So our journey with the IGIF has paved the way for a future ready geospatial sector, advancing the Saudi economy and social or sustainable goals as well. And we have built a comprehensive framework for surveying and geospatial information based on the IGIF pathways that include the establishment of the National Geospatial Center and the implementation of the National Data Governance Framework. Also, the national policies has been developed to govern the geospatial data, covering the classification, licensing, pricing, sharing, and protection. And also we have developed the geospatial data model, and we published the geospatial metadata and the data dictionary, as well as we have a dedicated Center for Geospatial Innovation. And lately we have launched the Geospatial National Academy to bridge the gap between the output of the academia institute that's in the kingdom and the market need. So in closing, we extend our gratitude to the UNGGIM committee of experts for the opportunity to share the Saudi Arabia experience in developing its national geospatial strategy. IGIF has been instrumental in guiding this process, and we encourage member state to leveraging its pathways in the strengthening their own strategy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mohammed, for this presentation, presenting the process of the preparation, as you have said, the national level action plan. Look forward to see you again, in the panel discussion, since I see that you're going to join also that session. And now, last but not the least, the presentation, my presentation. Similar, to my colleagues, I will going to talk about, the UN-IGF implementation in Serbia and how we use this framework for improving NSDI for sustainable development. I hope you see my presentation. Guillaume, please.
Yes, we do.
Thanks. My name, as you know, is Ljiljana Živković. I'm trying to squeeze in some minutes, I'm going to take from the panel discussion. Okay, I'm a section leader for innovation project planning and funding in the Republic Geodetic of Serbia. To go immediately, to the first point, as being the representative and being in the Europe, we are following aside those global, initiatives. We are also looking at the regional initiatives. When I say regional, I think in the European Union, particular because Serbia is heading towards the UN integrations. So we are trying to adjust to all the rules that are accepted already and exercised by the other member states. So that means, that for us, for the NSDI implementation and development in Serbia, it's an Inspire directive that came out in the 2007 is important. Also, the later, in 2015, Agenda for Sustainable Development. Then in 2018, we had a look, and we changed a little bit, adjusted to the recommendations that are provided by UN GGIM IGIF. Also, in line with that, European Union accepted the strategy for data in 2020. There it says, that NSDI should be improved and be part of the common European Green Deal data space. And later, but not the least, and this is very important today in the EU, this is this implementing act for the high value data set. It's about the opening the data of the public sector, to the wide users without any, and to be financially sustainable. That is quite challenging today for the majority of the European countries. In line with this global and regional initiatives, Serbia was also changing the Serbian NSDI, the legal framework, organization, and technology. We were evolving together with these needs, but of course, we were looking just like Sandra from the Colombia mentioned, we were looking also at the local needs in the domain of the geospatial data and services. So that means we were starting with the Inspire Directive 2007. We counted this until the 2018 due to the adoption of the UN IGIF recommendations. And up till today, we are trying to adjust by developing, and we developed actually the country action plan, and we are now in the phase of implementing the same. As I said, I would just say something about the beginning. Since the beginning, just in this spirit of the partnership, Serbia had a lot of capacity building and knowledge sharing projects for the NSDI establishment. We have been cooperating with the different countries, Statens Kartverket, the twinning project we had, the Inspiration project that was financed by the EU, Impulse that we were collaborating with our colleague from Landmateriet, etc. We established in the first NSDI Council. We had some preliminary NSDI stakeholders already identified. We had a campaign, thematic groups, for the technical and for cooperation. And also we launched the first GeoSerbia portal. First strategy was quite short for NSDI development, and we had the first law that was a part of the law on the real estate cadastre, but today is a different, situation. First, of course, we have been developing the NSDI, and, we were wondering, where we are in the development and what are the influence, how we really affect, the society and the life of the common people and their work, So we done the first time we applied the NSDI diagnostic tool in 2016. This is used by the World Bank methodology and with the support of the Food and Agriculture Organization. We have done this evaluation against the 8 evaluation dimensions. If we count, the core data 1 and 2 as a 1 dimension, as you could see, we have been in that moment, we had the weak points, when we talk about the capacity development, the use of the NSDI, and, the socioeconomic impact. In the meantime, in 2018, UN IGF was adopted, and then in 2018, we used this upgraded tool for NSDI, and we done assessment against, UN IGF 9 strategic paths. Again, we were using the World Bank methodology, and in this, since, okay, there are differences, in the dimensions. Here, the 9, these strategic pathways, so 9 dimension. We were, how to say, as you could see, I put it, in the brackets, our score was let's say, the lowest, but not so bad, for the financial strategic pathway, for the innovation, and for the standards. Based on this, evaluation, and as I said previously, based on the demands, on the local needs, for the geospatial data, then the global, global initiatives for geospatial information, and also on the European Union, we put, that, for the building and for improvement of the NSDI in Serbia, we are going to make combination of the recommendations of the UNIGIF, FELA, that is quite important for us, since the Republic Geodetic Authority is having the real estate cadastre and the other information that are directly linked to the properties in Serbia. So this framework for efficient land administration is quite important for us. And of course, high value data set, it's very important because there is a demand for the spatial information, but this spatial information, usually there are not so many of them, or maybe they are on a different level, or they are not, for example, accessible, and people don't know actually some days how to use them. So based on all of this, we run the tool, a diagnostic tool, in 2019, but in 2021, finally, we brought, the strategic action plan for NSDI improvement in Serbia. That is practically country-level action plan done by the UNIGIF recommendations, and you could find it also on the UNGGIM website. This document consists of the goal, vision, 5 sub-goals, and also identify the key action points for each of the 9 IGF strategic paths. There are a lot of, for each of these key action points, there are general recommendations. We identify what are the current and future actions to be done, and also we identify indicators in order to follow up, our success in implementation of the action plan. So overall, we identified 35 key action points for these 9 strategic pathways. As you could see, I put, here in the up right corner, how many of these action points there are, So if you remember innovations and the standards, and in the financial, the pathways was how to say the lowest grade, the lowest point score achieved, in this diagnostic tool running in 2019. So it's not surprise, that there is, for example, 6. We identified the 6 key action points for the path standards. So to go directly, since we adopt, the key AP for the Serbia, we up till today, run a couple of flagship projects. Some of them, as I put it here, the names, some of them are targeting some key APs directly, and some of them indirectly. I would explain that later. So you could see here, these projects are pretty different, Some of them are linked, to the implementation and how to say direct improvement of NSDI and as a platform, like GeoSerbia 2.0, RGA ID, or e-learning platform, ISO standards implementation, and or example, information system for mass evaluation, information system for infrastructure and utility cadastre, and some other projects. But some of these projects are practically done in the partnership with the other institutions in Serbia. I would just like, since, the time is not allowing too much to me to say about these projects, I would just say something about the projects, that we are currently running. And this is, for example, e-plan for e-space, smart parcel system. It's it's going to target directly innovation strategic path. This project deals with the digital transformation of the spatial and urban planning and development process in Serbia in general. We hope we are going to launch it, the platform itself and the system at the end of this year. And we hope it's going to create the new insights for all decision makers and policy managers in Serbia. And we also hope that it's going to also, as I said, indirectly enhance usage of the public sector geospatial data set and relative services. Next project that I would like to highlight now, it's the disaster risk register. It's already in the phase 2. We are doing this in the collaboration with the UNDP and the European Union. It's already established. It's today the main source of geospatial information for the building of the disaster risk management plans. It has some basic risk maps, but what we plan in the future is to bring some new data to identify the stakeholders more precisely, what are their responsibilities for maintaining this register, and also what is really important when you need to react in this type of the situation is to have the information that are more precise and that you could make decisions more precisely in case of the catastrophe. And the third project that I would like to highlight is the information system for mass evaluation. We already have, we are doing this with together with the World Bank, for let's say many years. We already have a property price register that is established, and it's fine-tuning, continually develops in line with the market needs and mass valuation process needs. Also, we are going to soon establish, I hope, a pilot data model for mass evaluation for the future information system that is going to target directly tax policy reform that are needed at the moment. And also what we are investigating is possibility and approaches to apply different new technologies like machine learning and artificial intelligence for the mass evaluation system. Finally, my last slide, we hope, the lessons learned and future steps, maybe it could be valuable for the other, for the audience and for the other regional committees, that we, as if you remember my table, some of these key action projects are targeting directly some of these key action points, but they are also having some indirect, so we are trying to make a synergy of the financial resources that are available to us. As you know, the public administration has scarce resources. We are forced to do more with the less. And so we try, to be very efficient and to achieve effectiveness that is identified at the beginning of the projects and of our outputs. Also, we try to be flexible and to monitor the NSDI stakeholder needs in Serbia. We are really close cooperating with the national international partners and within relative initiatives. So here, I think on the national projects like this disaster risk register, or maybe some the climate adaptation strategy and projects that are running right now in Serbia, and I'm visiting them and talk about the agriculture, about the forestry, about the water management and different topics. We are trying to continually promote the geospatial data role and power also among other partners, but also we are member of the UN-IGF translation team. So we are a little bit lagging after some other languages, but we hope, in the coming time, we would manage, somehow to reach, and to provide some new data, new documents, IGF on the Serbian language, and then hope that the other to be able to read in the region. And what is how to say, never-ending story is we are still searching, for NSDI financial sustainability, and for that, we still don't have answer. As you could see, we are dealing with a lot of the foreign funds. At the moment we are running the projects, but I hope until they end, we would find a solution how to be financially sustainable in future and provide geospatial information of the high quality to all the stakeholders in Serbia. Thank you for your time. I apologize to the roundtable group, but I would like immediately to call Mr. Fernand Iseri to take over and to present us the panelist.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, it's my pleasure to welcome you to this roundtable discussion. As we are running after the time, let me introduce rapidly our distinguished panelists representing different regions of the world. I will start by Mr. Clinton Eman, who is the chair of UNGGM Africa. I think, is it there? Thank you, Mr. Clinton. Sofia Nilo, chair of the UNGGM Americas. She's there. Antonio Bandero. Thanks. Antonio Bamban, chair of the UNGGM Asia Pacific. Is it there? Thanks. And Mohamed Al Saed, chair of the UNGGM Arab State.
Thank you. Dr. Mohammed Al-Said is not here, and I will be presenting him, and he convey his regard to everyone, wishing you a successful meeting.
Thank you, Mohamed Al Mabrouk. You're there. And the last is, not the least, is Mr. James Norris, Head of International Affairs and Ordnance Survey, Chair of UNGGIAM Africa and Europe UN-IGIF Working Group, isn't it? Okay, thank you. Now we'll quickly go to our roundtable, and then we will have 3 questions. Each of you will have 2 minutes to answer of each question. Now I will start. How your regional committees is providing support to the UN IGF implementation at country level, and what other organizations are providing support in your region? We will start now with Mr. Clinton. Please, you have the floor. 2 minutes.
Thank you, Vice President from the Africa region. Thank you very much. I think Mimi did such a good job in going through the Africa region and all the work that we're doing. And I think mainly for me is that we've been developing country level action plans in some countries, not all countries, as you saw from Mimi. We are looking at the both using the UNGGIM methodologies, the IGIF methodology, the FELA methodology. And I think from a technical working group side, we've, as Mimi showed, we've now developed 4 working groups, one for IGIF, one for statistical integration. Then we've got the geodesy one that looks at AFREF, and then we've got land administration that's being managed by our colleagues from Morocco. And I think the other organizations that we use are in the north of Africa is AfriGist, and then in Kenya we've got based the RCMRD that runs the regional mapping for and those are 2 very important partners within the organization, and they're also rapporteurs for the Africa region. Yeah, and then I think you also saw there that some of our flagship workshops that are starting to happen. We've had some wonderful online workshops with Mr. Ferdinand Bale, who's been leading on AFREF and the development of the geodesy side. We've had some good workshops in Mozambique, and Mimi pointed out the countries that are now starting to join in on peer learning. So those are all really exciting parts as we start to expand our country level action plans. So our strategic partners, obviously the SDG data lines, the UN GGKIC, the UNECA is very useful. Andre, our head of secretariat, he keeps us all on our toes and honest. And then we've got also the UN GGCE. So these cross-cutting relationships, and especially the Bond Center has been really very active in Africa with a number of activities happening. So that's really where we pitched. So that's my 2 minutes, I think, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clinton. I now give the floor to Sophia Nilo. The same question. How your regional committee is provide support to the UN IGF implementation at the country level, and what other organizations are providing support in your region? Your microphone, please. It's mute.
Sophia, we cannot hear you. Maybe you can disconnect and connect again.
Hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, it's okay. It's okay now. You can go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
2 minutes.
Yes. Respect the implementation and the UNIGIF in Americas, in the region, and is in the region, many countries hardworking in the implementation, the UNIGIF, the better example is the presentation of Colombia in this webinar. But other countries is necessary the support for the implementation, the UNIGIF, and it's necessary support this work in his countries. In Americas is similar the Africa's situation and the support. The principal support in this process is the SDG Data Alliance for some countries, but unfortunately, this support is finally in the past year, but is for this is important the sustainability this support and work for our countries for continues the process for the implementation the UNGIF in all countries in a similar condition. And other important support is ICLAC in our region, and Álvaro Monet is an important person in this support for many countries in our region. I hope in the future reinforce this support in the region for from ICLAC. Thank you, Fernand.
Okay, thank you, Sofia. Antonio, what about Asia Pacific?
Oh, well, thanks, Fernand. So the first thing that I have, especially my committee support the regional implementation for national implementation for its member is we connect to other regional committee. So we have to see the status of every regional committee, and we do have the same problem. So we are not lag behind. So that make me confident to become one of the regional chair. Secondly, we have an awareness that it's not easy to invite everybody to come to any meeting. So the regional committee, together with the secretariat, looking at combined activities so that many resources can be used at once. So during the plenary meeting or any EP members meeting, we have like seminar together so that all resources can be saved a lot, because many countries in our region cannot afford just to travel to other region, to other country. So capacity building in an organized event is very important, and that has been done by the Regional Committee of Asia Pacific. And then we use any moment, like any event, to include our UNIGIF implementation to be included in the event. We have been supported by our secretariat, the center in Beijing, UNGIC, financially or technically. They support us very well. That the host country also support us very well in getting financial support also for some of the members to come to the country. and it wasn't easy for us because Pacific just to Singapore takes a long flight to go. So that's our effort to get all member states at least to understand what UNRGF is all about. Thank you, Fernand.
Thank you, Antonio, for the work you are doing there. Mohamed Al-Mabouk.
Thank you. Thank you. So in the Arab regional, we have made the implementation of the UNIGIF central priority. And since 2019, we have integrated a dedicated UNIGIF workshop into every plenary meetings, starting with our first major consultation in Algeria in 2019. This workshop typically span a full day or more and serve a similar critical proposal, such as purpose, such as the knowledge and capacity building, where we invite a global or regional expert to introduce the IGIF and its pathway to a national representatives. And also experience sharing. Countries that have initiated implementation, share progress update, identify challenges, and highlight the best practices, and also peer consultations. And these sessions also function as an open consultation where countries engage in a dialogue, reflect on lessons learned, and seek practical guidance. So we have established a dedicated IGIF work group within the Arab state, and this group has formal work plan and had held over a dozen of meetings, and at least 6 to 7 since our last plenary meeting in Jeddah early this year. And this structured has helped sustain momentum and foster the peer learning across the member state. And as a partnership, while our region work has largely been internal to the Arab state, we have initiated engagement within or with the UN Global Geospatial Knowledge and Innovation Center in China, and we plan to explore how they can support our implementation efforts through knowledge and exchange technical advices and potential, let's say, co-regional regional workshops to benefit all Arab state meetings. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mohamed. Mr. Norris, what about UNGGM Europe?
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you for the opportunity to talk. And I will provide a few comments on behalf of the co-chairs of UNGGM Europe, who give their apologies they couldn't make the session today, but underscoring the importance that UNGGM Europe places on the IGIF and implementing it as a core part of our activities. If I may take a quick moment to give an overview of UNGGM Europe, one of the main things we're focused on and our key aim is to minimize or maximize the use of geospatial information in Europe for a safer and more sustainable world. Like many people, we are in the process of refreshing our regional strategy, and our plenary meeting will be held in Belgium from the 24th to the 25th of June, so later on this month. And we're really grateful to all the representatives from the other regional committees who I know will be attending the plenary and sharing their knowledge and contributing to our discussions. Central to our regional work plan are 5 areas of focus. Global geodetic reference frame is really important, and we welcome and thank the Geodetic Centre for the leadership they are placing on that, and pleased that it is based in Europe. Focusing on data integration and the role of sustainable development goals, and also linking through to data strategy and policy. And then our 5th area is the UNIGIF. And I was really pleased, and I'll say it and probably embarrass her, but that Liliana has been able to moderate and guide the discussions today. And I've been really pleased. And as I was listening to her presentation, she encompassed part of that, some of the core principles that we're looking at. So actually how Europe has got a strong track record of providing support within member states and between member states. That peer-to-peer learning is a really important part for colleagues within Europe. But also we're looking at how the institutions of UNGGIM Europe and our region can support each other. So for instance, we had a joint UN Economic Commission for Europe project, Eurostat and UNGGIM Europe as a body, talking about how the integrated geospatial information framework can strengthen other parts of the UN system, specifically geospatial integration. And we're looking forward to continuing projects and programs like that as we develop through our program of work over the next few months. But Chair, a very quick summary on behalf of UNGGIM Europe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Norris. Now, just one other question. What are the main support needs in your region, and how do envisions interregional collaboration helping to address the needs? In 1 minute. Mr. Norris, start with you.
Working backwards, thank you. For us, we have undertaken a needs assessment across UNGGIM Europe, which is something the regional working group has been focusing on. And some of those link very closely through the overarching principles of strategic direction. So actually, what is it that member states need to do and how they need to implement the UNIGIF as a tool to implement national development? We're also very keenly aware that there are many different ways of approaching the UNIGIF. We've already heard the World Bank project methodology mentioned. We've already heard the UN 16-step program methodology mentioned. And we've already heard the number of member states who shared their experiences earlier on, that there are different ways of adapting. So one of the things we're really interested in is to make sure that member states aren't fixed to a specific methodology. People are able to adapt it to the national circumstances, and people are able to develop the outcomes which strengthen their own national geospatial capabilities. It's only us in our own countries that know the challenges we have, and making sure that the programs, the projects, and the funding we pull in towards the UNIGF all strengthen that and move countries to a more stable and prosperous set of geospatial capabilities. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Norris. Mohamed?
All right, so in the Arab state region, the main support needs fall into two categories. Knowledge and capacity, where many countries are still seeking to understand how to use the IGIF to build or enhance their national geospatial framework. There is a significant need for tolerated guidance, technical workshops, and mentorship to help countries to localize the IGIF pathways within their national context. Also, the financial support. Some countries are ready to move forward, but the lack of financial resources to operate the IGIF roadmap. And here is the recent developed sustainable funding guide led by Saudi offers permission a tool that guide and explores innovative finance mechanism and diverse funding resources. However, and for now, no countries has fully implemented or tested. So we encourage countries to use the guide and provide feedback to improve it or and test how successful it was. So also we would benefit from a cross-regional expert exchange where we inviting participants from other regions who have made progress in implementing the IGIF and presenting their experience, maybe joint workshop also with co-developing thematic maybe working groups or whoever would like to participate. So this kind of mutual learning and support ecosystem would help to ensure that no country is left behind in leveraging the IGIF for the international or national development. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohamed. Antonio?
As I mentioned, Tandang mentioned earlier, it's not easy for us to get 56 member states to come to our meeting. So maybe not every member state in my region has understand or knows about IGIF. So that's the major challenge for Asia Pacific. That's why awareness and capacity building will be one of the challenges that still face, and getting together for 56 member states, this will be another challenge for Asia Pacific. So I think the organization will change, but I think for interregional committee collaboration, we have to make sure that all the five of secretariats work very well. So they work close together very well, so that no matter how the president or chair change, but this thing is still working, and we can keep our collaboration in the future. Thank you, Fernand.
Okay, thank you, Sophia.
Thank you, Fernand. Yes, in our region, the main support needed is obviously capacity and training, but it's important for the countries speak Spanish and Portuguese. This capacity and strong capacities and training is in the speak the language, natural language in Spanish or Portuguese, and other challenges is in the region is accompany and monitoring the process in the countries. For in our vision is important, but there's the human resources for this task is no exist or is minors in our countries, and continuous monitoring and accompany this process is important for finally in good position. Thank you, Fernand.
Thank you, Sophia. Clinton, are you there? Clinton is not there. Okay. Now, he's there.
No, thank you. I am here. I just wanted to say a few things on behalf of the Africa region. I think the main areas are legislative and institutional reform. You know, many of the countries are lacking legislation or regulatory frameworks to operationalize the IGIF. And I think interregional collaboration with the Asia Pacific region and the Americas provide good models for legislation and regulatory toolkits. So we look forward to that, establishing those partnerships with you. Then also looking at sustainable financing. It's always a problem. So we're also looking at global donor coordination platforms that need to facilitate funding in the Africa region. Human capital, very important. Technical expertise. I think we all struggle there. And I think, again, here it's about having those shared diagnostic platforms. I was really enjoying what the other colleagues were saying in their sessions, is that how they are sharing data among the regions in all of the countries in specific regions. And then I think the final point that I want to just mention is data interoperability and infrastructure. We've seen that as we look at an Africa 2063, the free trade areas, as these corridors develop, we need to look at expanding our geodetic infrastructure to facilitate all the technological advancements that come along with the opening up of Africa. So those are just some of the areas that I thought would be useful to mention. Thank you. Thank you,
Okay,
Chair.
thank you. Now Yes, we have 5 minutes, 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, I want you for my last question is, what do you think a structure to support member states should look like to implement the UN IGF, leveraging existing workforces, UN DGIM Secretariat, UN GDKIC, high-level group on IGF, regional committees or regional commission or order, in one word? Clinton, started with you.
One word.
Yes.
I think we need multi-layered adaptive structures. If you just hyphen all those, but we need. I think it's working really well. In the last few years, I've seen a very strong guidance from the Secretariat, and then the regional committees are meeting more regularly. So I think that multi-layered adaptive structure is really working well. Thank you.
Sophia?
Thank you, Fernand. I think we need to make more efficient use of the resources we have, which is why I believe coordination between regional committee is essential. And it is also important to ensure that our solution come from the countries themselves, given the very different realities of our region and sub-region inclusive. Therefore, every efforts made the support structure must be carefully considered and based on the country's needs, and the various tasks must be distributed effectively to make our limited resources more efficient. More efficient. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Sophia. Antonio?
Thanks, Fernand. I think the work of regional committee, as Sophia mentioned earlier, is very important because it's the bridge between the global and the country level things, activities. So I think, again, secretariat should also something that must be established well, because I think Europe hasn't got any fixed secretariat too. Europe, you also, I think that must be good, because we are, all the resources are there, not in the member state, but in the secretariat and the center in Beijing or in Bonn. So I think all the structure looks marvelous. I don't think we can change the structure into GI, because it's going to be very hard to work from the beginning. I think it's just strengthening of the regional committee and the secretariat of both global and regional committee. Probably one thing that we have to look for in the future. Thank you, Fernand.
Thank you, Antonio. Mohamed?
I believe the existing entities such as the UNGGIM Secretariat, the high-level group of the IGIF, the center in China should focus on the strategic direction and tools, while the regional committee localize the support and facilitate the cooperation. So regional lit and nationally responsive, supported by global experience and innovation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohamed. Mr. Norris?
I have 3 words: sharing our journeys. So the sharing our journeys is really important. We know the leadership from the Secretariat in New York. We know the leadership from the high-level group of the IGIF has enabled us to be in a really strong position that we are now. We have seen the number of countries who are making great progress in adopting the UNIGIF, but we must recognize it takes time. And how can we make sure, as we share our journey, we share those learnings at a peer-to-peer level, member state to member state, at a regional level, region to region and at a global level. So for me, I always learn by coming on events like this. How do we continue to share our journey, and how do we continue to steal the background of Clinton's sign to strengthen geospatial governance across the world? I know you says across Africa, but for me, it's across the world. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, all of you. It was a very good discussions. I don't have time to make a summary because we're running out of time. I just want to thanks again everyone to your attention, and then I give back the floor to the chair. Thank you all. See you. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thank you, and thank you very much, and thank you for the panelists. So we already, crossed the time, so 16 minutes, but I assume that also Guillaume would like to say something. But before that, I would like to thank everyone for participants online, also the speakers, all speakers. We hear it's very hard now to make the conclusions and some remarks, after so many information we really heard, in the last 2 hours. What is obvious, there is a great interest, of course, in the IGF implementation. There are a lot of actions happening, what is even more important, but there are a lot of challenges. Some of them are common, like financial resources, it seems, some of them are differing, and they are, depends on the country, from country to country. What James said, it's very important, to share the knowledge and to share the practice, but I think it's very important to make this country level action plan and to start translation from the global recommendations to the local plan of actions, that are going to happen. But I would emphasize again, to stay, at least from our experience and from the experience of our regional group, is that to be flexible and to listen users, what are their needs, and also in the end, I would like to thank UN Secretariat, to Mr. Guillaume for this opportunity, to chair this first interregional webinar and to hear the colleagues, from the different parts of the world. Thank you.
Thank you for the moderation, and thank you so much for inviting me to this interregional dialogue. I want to put back credit where it's due. It is an initiative from the UNGGM Americas to have this interregional dialogue, and I do think it is a really good way to share experiences and to put the frameworks, the global framework, into practice. So it is very important, and it is great dialogue to have. There's some very good recommendation and consideration. I think I will take on a couple of points on regarding the importance that the architecture and the structure is there. It's just about using what we have and strengthening what we have, both at the global level in the secretariat, but as well as with the center and the regional secretariat also, and try to coordinate and share journey. I think it was great advice from our chairs and leaders in the region. So thank you very much again for the initiative, and we look forward to keep on going with all of you on the digital road to the 15th session of UNGGM. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Guillaume, for these remarks. With this, I would like to end at least this first interregional webinar, and I wish everybody the nice rest of the day. And, to hope to see you all again, if not, in person, then like this online, and to continue sharing and to learning from each other. Thank you very much to everyone. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.